All those people were the people who were serving between 15 years and life imprisonment here on Robben Island. And the total number of the people on that picture were 37 people. And around this prison, you can see there are some 2 fences. In between those 2 fences, there were some German Shepherd dogs. Wow. If you are trying to escape, those German Shepherd dogs will deal with you accordingly. And those German Shepherd dogs were used in the lime and stone quarry to victimize us as political prisoners. Because if we are pushing a wheelbarrow very slowly, those German Shepherd dogs will deal with you viciously. And in front of us, we have a grave over there. So there were some human bones who were discovered 18 months ago. A person who died here on Robben Island. He was buried there secretly. So let's proceed. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we are now in F section courtyard, where we used to eat and exercise. We were forced to squatter there to eat, whether it's raining or not raining. And on our right-hand side, we have a sport field. We used to play rugby and soccer there only on Sundays for 30 minutes. The other days we have to go and work there in lime and stone quarry. And also around this prison, there are some 2 towers. So each and every tower, there were some 2 guys carrying R1 rifle machine guns. Those guards were waiting for any inconvenience that may happen here on Robben Island, to shoot, to kill. So let's proceed.
Okay.
Ladies and gentlemen, so these are F section communal or general cells. Each cell was accommodating about 60 people, 60 per cell. So there are 4 communal or general cells in this section F. 2 communal cells at the back and another 2 communal cells in front of us, which simply means that there were 240 people in this section F. And this was the office of the guard. If you have done something wrong here on Robben Island, you will be called in that office, and the guard will punish you and send you to solitary confinement cells, where you will be beaten using shambles, punches, whipping, and also kicking you. Your hands and legs are chained, and there's not a single form of political prisoner left this place without being punished. Because if you are avoiding punishment, the guards will discuss amongst themselves who will be punished that particular day. Then will be taken to solitary confinement cells. And this model here was used for dispensing medication. Medication was not so good here on Robben Island, because sometimes if you have a headache, you'll be given some diabetic tablets. And also there was only one doctor here on Robben Island. The doctor only comes once a week during Wednesdays. So if you are sick on Thursday, you will face the consequences, or rather you have to wait the following Wednesday. So now let's proceed to this section, to my cell. Okay, please proceed. And mind the step, please.
Wake up. You're facing the wrong, wake up. Get up. Squat it.
You may have a seat, please. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, so these are the names of former political prisoners who died here on Robben Island. But they were buried on the mainland. All those bodies were resumed on the mainland 4 years ago. The number of the ex-political prisoners who died here on Robben Island are more than this. And the names on the bottom, we are still looking for their loved ones. They died through the diseases like TB and double pneumonia, and also through the beatings that took place here on Robben Island, and starvation. And some of the people on this list were taken by a helicopter here on Robben Island, and they were shot and killed on the mainland because they didn't divulge the information that was stipulated by the security police. Even now, their families are still coming here on Robben Island looking for their loved ones. So each and every time we saw a helicopter moving around here on Robben Island, we'll be very frightened and we'll ask ourselves, who will be the next one to be taken by that helicopter and shot and killed on the mainland. And furthermore, that same helicopter was taking other people to the gallows in Pretoria maximum prison, where they'll be hanged by the South African government, whilst they were already serving their sentences. And the names on the bottom were buried as paupers in the mass grave. And this prison itself was built on top of the graves. And there were some other political prisoners who were released here on Robben Island. But they have never reached their homes. Even now, their families are still coming here on Robben Island, looking for their loved ones. Very good afternoon, everybody. Good. Well, I'm good. And your guide is going to take you around the prison. Ladies and gentlemen, in front of us, we have a hospital. It's where those who were very mentally sick were locked. They were brutally beaten and tortured by the security police in detention. And they were brought in that hostel section in order to get their medical observation. Even now, there are still some other political prisoners who are still mentally sick, but there's nobody who is taking care of them. Some of them are unemployed and homeless. Even those who passed away, there's no money to bury them. And we have to collect the money from the communities in order to bury them. And during 1996, there was a law in Parliament that all those who were more than 36 years old, they will get a compensation, but it never materialized. That's why most of the former political prisoners are staying here on Robben Island. They are staying here because they cannot afford to pay the rent on the mainland. So let's proceed to were photographed in 1966. They were photographed by the International Defense Aid Fund members who were here visiting the ex-political prisoners. So this is Nelson Mandela during his youth time, together with the late Walter Sisulu. This picture does not show the true reflection on what was happening during 1960s. As I have already mentioned that the black political prisoners were not allowed to wear the long sleeve shirts. On that day, they were called by the authorities to wear these clothes because there was international Red Cross, international media visiting the ex-political prisoners. The authorities wanted to show the whole world that they were taking care of ex-political prisoners. And in front of us, we have a garden. That garden was made by Nelson Mandela. Inside that garden, there's that vine tree. This is Mandela cell. You are free to take pictures. The size of Mandela cell is 2 by 3 meters square. Inside Mandela cell, there is a bucket that was used by Nelson Mandela for 18 years here on Robben Island. Because there are no toilets, no taps, and no toilet papers inside their cells, they were forced to use those buckets to relieve themselves. And also inside there are 3 folded blankets. As political prisoners, we were forced to fold our blankets the way they showed us. If you have folded your blankets in a different way, the authorities will lock you in solitary confinement. They will beat you using shambles, punches, whipping, and also kicking you. So Nelson Mandela spent only 18 years in that cell. After 18 years, he was deported to Portsmouth prison, where he spent 7 years. And after 7 years, he was deported to Victor Foster prison, where he spent 2 years. And where he was released in 1990, 11th of February. So Nelson Mandela spent 27 years in prison in total. And they were not allowed to speak to each other whilst they are locked inside the cells. If you are speaking with somebody next door, you will be punished. So after taking pictures, we'll prostrate down. Okay. Please guys come to me. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, now is the end of our talk. So allow me to thank you to come and visit this wonderful place of ours. As political prisoners, we have reconciled people. We cannot have grudges to those people who have victimized, tortured us, because all those years we had fought for peace. And now we have achieved our democracy to show that we have reconciled. Most of us are staying here on Robben Island, and also myself. And those guards who victimized us here on Robben Island. We are now friends. And also thank the international community. Their contribution that has been during our struggle by supporting us militarily, financially, morally, and spiritually. On that note, I thank you. May God bless. Now we'll proceed to the bus that will take you around Robben Island and see places like Lime and Stone Quarry, Sobuquest House, and other places. I thank you now. You are released.
As many questions as you like and to take as many pictures. The site on your right hand side is the leper graveyard. On the island we have about 1,500 graves of those lepers who died on the island, and the prison is built over some of them. In 1846, it was believed that leprosy was incurable and contagious, and so all those people who suffered from it were dumped here just to be kept out of sight, out of mind. There was no treatment for them. On their arrival on the island, they were separated in gender and in race because the authorities did not want them to have children, as it was believed that they would pass the disease to their children. But nevertheless, 41 healthy babies were born. Those babies were taken away from their parents, adopted by the parents from the mainland, never to see their parents again. In 1931, a Leprosy Repression Act was lifted, and all those lepers who survived that period were taken to the mainland. Robben Island became a military base for the Second World War. All the buildings that were used by the lepers were then burnt down, but there is only one building that's still standing. And now we're going to the village of Robben Island. Before we go, because of copyright reasons, we do not allow any videos or recorders on board, but you can take still pictures. On your right hand side is the only building that's still standing that was used by the lepers. The reason it was not demolished is because it doesn't belong to Robben Island, but it belongs to the Anglican Church of South Africa. It is called the Church of the Good Shepherd. It was a male leper church designed by Sir Herbert Baker, the man who designed the Union buildings in Pretoria, built by the lepers themselves. On your far left, below the Strand, about 7 kilometers away from here. Capetown is just behind this building, and it's 11.5 kilometers away from here. We're now going to have a 10-minute break for you to take pictures of
पानी है ना into 13.5 years. They were given picks, shovels and spades to dig the line. Sometimes they used their hands. The orders were patrolling from above. They were going up and down with their dogs and rifles. They were given authority to shoot, not to just shoot, but to shoot to kill. There was no use for the line. They would dig it today, take it from point A to point B, following day from point B back to point A until it was needed to. The structures on your left-hand side were the headquarters of the Swans auxiliary native services. They are today our heritage department. On Robben Island, we have 4 prisons. We have the old prison on the northern side of the island. That's the prison that they used before the maximum security prison was built. We have the maximum security prison where you've just been now. We have the medium security prison that was built for criminals only. And we have the smallest prison which was built for only 1 person.
Concisely structured in a way that freedom is essential.